What would you do if you woke up naked next to a stranger, with no memory of the night before? Sofia Martinez thought escaping that hotel room with nothing but a hastily scrawled note would end her biggest mistake. But 3 days later, when the new CEO of her dream company walked into the conference room with those same piercing blue eyes and dangerous smile, she realized her nightmare was just beginning. If powerful stories of love, loss, and redemption move you, hit that like button. It helps more people discover love stories worth telling. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love connecting with you. And be sure to subscribe and ring that bell, because every story I share is chosen to make you feel something real. Sofia Martinez never imagined she'd wake up in a luxury hotel room, completely naked on a king-size bed. But this morning, as Chicago sunlight sliced through white curtains like an accusation, Sofia realized she was living her worst nightmare. Her head pounded like a sledgehammer. Her mouth felt like she'd swallowed sand. "Where am I?" she croaked, her voice barely recognizable. Then she felt it, steady breathing beside her. Her heart stopped. She turned her head slowly, afraid any sudden movement might shatter reality. The man lying next to her looked like he'd been carved from marble. Dark hair fell across his forehead, strong jaw, perfect lips pressed together in peaceful sleep. He was shirtless, his muscled chest rising and falling rhythmically. Sofia swallowed hard, panic flooding her system. She had nothing on under the thin sheet covering her. Her eyes caught faint marks on her neck in the mirror across the room. "Oh God," she whispered. "Did I just sleep with a complete stranger?" She tried desperately to remember last night. There had been a farewell party for her old job at the small advertising agency. She remembered the fifth martini, the dancing, Maria's laughter. Then a man had appeared. Deep blue eyes, a tailored black suit, a voice smooth as aged whiskey. "You dance beautifully," he'd said, his smile both dangerous and magnetic. Sofia, tipsy and fearless, had giggled back. "You haven't seen my salsa moves yet. Brace yourself." She'd grabbed his hand, pulled him onto the dance floor. Everything after that blurred like a broken film reel. She vaguely remembered a kiss, hot, intense, desperate, being lifted in strong arms. A connection that felt like lightning. Then darkness. "Sofia Martinez, what the hell did you do?" she whispered to herself, face burning with shame. She carefully slid out of bed, clutching the blanket around her. Her black dress lay crumpled near the sofa. Her underwear was scattered across the floor. Blushing furiously, she gathered everything and dressed quickly. "You're a copywriter, not some party girl," she muttered under her breath. She found paper and her eyeliner, scribbling a quick note. "Thanks for whatever happened. Sorry if I was a mess. Have a good day." She hesitated, almost signing her name, then decided against it. This was a one-night mistake. Nothing more. Sofia tiptoed to the door and slipped out like a thief in the night. Behind her, sunlight continued streaming through the curtains. The man opened his eyes, deep blue, sharp as winter ice. He sat up, reading the eyeliner-scrawled note, and smiled. "Thanks for whatever," he murmured, voice low and amused. "This girl is a hurricane." Alexander Knight hadn't planned for the night to go that far. When Sofia pulled him onto the dance floor, he'd recognized her instantly. Sofia Martinez, the woman who'd given that bold, unforgettable speech at a media conference 2 years ago. He'd been mesmerized then, watching her command the room with passion and intelligence. When she kissed him last night, drunk and blazing like fire, he hadn't resisted. They'd collided in a passion that wasn't just chemistry. It was destiny he'd been waiting for. He knew she wouldn't remember, and he wasn't going to push it. Not yet. He wanted her to remember on her own, or he'd make her fall all over again. Alexander folded the note and tucked it into his jacket pocket, smiling. "Sofia Martinez," he whispered. You really think a note is enough to end this? Sophia stood in her tiny Chicago apartment, trying to scrub away the guilt with black coffee and a scalding shower. She'd changed clothes, but the image of that mysterious man lingered like a tattoo on her mind. Never more than one drink, she promised herself for the 10th time this year. Her phone buzzed. Text from Maria. Are you alive? Tell me everything. Sophia typed back. I'm fine. We're never talking about last night. Ever. She checked the clock. Nearly noon on Sunday. Tomorrow was her first day at Sterling Communications, the media company of her dreams. She needed to forget last night and focus on her fresh start. No mysterious men. No regrets. But deep down, something felt different. Like last night wasn't just a mistake. It was the beginning of something bigger. She shook her head and laughed bitterly. Don't be dramatic, Sophia. Fate only exists in movies. What she didn't know was that across Chicago, Alexander Knight sat in his corner office, gazing at the city skyline. On his desk, the eyeliner note lay next to his coffee cup. See you Monday, Miss Martinez, he said, voice like a promise. We'll meet again. Sophia Martinez stood in front of the towering Sterling Communications building, holding her latte with determination. Today was her first day at one of Chicago's top media companies, and she'd sworn to make a powerful impression. No more foolish mistakes like the weekend. No more hazy memories of a mysterious man with dangerous blue eyes. She took a deep breath, smoothed her navy pencil dress, and stepped into the gleaming lobby. The office buzzed with energy. Keyboards clicking, coffee brewing, colleagues chatting. Her heart pounded with excitement, not anxiety. This was her fresh start. Janet, a blonde colleague with a pixie cut, greeted her with a bright smile. Welcome to the chaos. Things are intense today. New CEO announcement at 10 a.m. New CEO? Sophia raised an eyebrow as she set her bag down. I thought the company was doing well. Janet shrugged, sipping her coffee. Parent company restructuring. They brought in some business genius. Real alpha wolf type. Name's Alexander Knight. Rumor is he's cold, brilliant, and ridiculously good-looking. Sophia's blood turned to ice. The name hit her like a physical blow. Alexander Knight. He's the type who can silence a whole room with just one look, Janet winked. At exactly 10 a.m., Sterling's large conference room was packed. Sophia sat in the middle row, notebook ready, trying to stay invisible. She'd mentally prepared for a stern, middle-aged CEO with steel-gray hair and a permanent scowl. The door opened. The room fell dead silent. Alexander Knight walked in tall, commanding, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit. His dark hair was styled perfectly. His piercing blue eyes swept the room like a cold wind. Sophia's world collapsed. It was him, the man from Saturday night. The man she'd woken up next to, naked and confused in that hotel room. No way, she whispered, clutching her notebook so tightly the pages crumpled. She tried to make herself invisible, but felt his gaze scanning the crowd. When she dared to look up, her worst fear came true. His eyes found hers, and that familiar half-smile touched his lips. Good morning. His deep voice echoed through the room. I'm Alexander Knight, your new CEO. I'm here to ensure we don't just survive. We dominate the media industry. Sophia heard nothing else. Her mind spun with questions, fears, and fragments of memories she couldn't quite grasp. Why was he here? Did he remember her? The meeting lasted 45 minutes, but felt like eternity. When it ended, Sophia shot up, ready to escape just like she'd fled the hotel. Miss Martinez. His voice cut through the shuffling crowd like a blade. Every head turned. Sophia froze, notebook trembling in her hands. I understand you're our new copywriter. I'd like to see your campaign proposal on my desk by tomorrow morning. Why, yes, sir, she stammered, face burning. She practically ran from the room. In the hallway, Janet caught up to her, eyes wide with excitement. "Oh my God! The CEO called you out on your first day. What secret are you hiding?" "No secret," Sophia muttered, cheeks flaming. "Just coincidence." But she knew it wasn't coincidence. Alexander Knight clearly remembered her. That calculating look, that razor-sharp gaze. He knew exactly who she was, and that terrified and thrilled her at the same time. That afternoon, Sophia sat at her desk trying to focus on the campaign proposal, but Alexander's image flashed in her mind constantly. His blue eyes, his mysterious smile, the blurred memory of Saturday night. She accidentally typed "dangerously attractive CEO" and panicked, slamming her laptop shut, face turning crimson. "Miss Martinez, how's the proposal coming?" Alexander's voice, deep and close, startled her. She spun around to find him standing right behind her desk, coffee cup in hand, eyes scanning her like he could read her thoughts. "I'm working on it, sir," she replied, trying not to sound shaky. Then she noticed her laptop screen. Somehow she'd reopened it, and her accidental typing was visible. Alexander raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. "Good. I'm looking forward to reading it. Don't let me down, Miss Martinez." He emphasized her name with a tone both serious and teasing, then walked away, leaving Sophia with a pounding heart and the distinct feeling she just entered a game she didn't understand. In his private office, Alexander sat in his leather chair, gazing out at the Chicago skyline. He smiled, remembering Sophia's panicked expression during the meeting. He didn't know if she remembered anything from that night, but he remembered everything. The fiery kiss, her laughter, the way she murmured in her sleep. Seeing her flustered like a startled deer was far too entertaining to resist. "Sophia Martinez," he murmured, tapping his fingers on the desk. "This is just the beginning." Sophia had survived her first day at Sterling Communications, but she wasn't sure she'd survive the rest of the week. After the shock of realizing Alexander Knight was her new CEO, she'd promised herself to maintain safe distance, work hard, avoid his piercing blue eyes, and under no circumstances fall into another awkward situation. But Alexander, with his stone-cold demeanor and dangerously faint smile, seemed to have other plans. By Tuesday afternoon, Sophia was glued to her desk, perfecting the campaign proposal Alexander had demanded. She'd stayed up all night, tweaking every sentence, making sure each idea was sharp and original. "You're a professional," she told herself as she typed furiously. "He's just your boss, not the guy you woke up next to completely naked." She flushed, shaking her head to block the hazy memory. "Martinez to the conference room. Now!" Alexander's voice boomed from the intercom, shattering her concentration. Sophia jumped, nearly spilling coffee everywhere. Around her, co-workers glanced over with curious expressions. Janet smirked and whispered, called out by the boss again. "You're definitely the star around here." "Some star," Sophia muttered. "I just want a peaceful work life." She quickly printed the proposal, straightened her blouse, and headed for the conference room, trying to look calm and composed. When she stepped inside, her heart nearly stopped. Alexander was seated at the head of the table, dressed in a deep navy suit that fit him perfectly. His eyes were sharp as blades. Other executives were present, but to Sophia, they faded away. Only he commanded her attention. "You're 3 minutes late, Miss Martinez," Alexander said, his voice low and laced with teasing reprimand. He glanced at his watch, then at her, a ghost of a smirk touching his lips. "I hope your proposal is worth the wait." Sophia swallowed hard and placed the document on the table. "Yes, sir. This is my proposal for the Tech Vision campaign. I believe it aligns with the creative direction you requested." Alexander flipped through the pages, each turn deliberately slow. "It's clever, bold, but a little safe," he said evenly. You're a copywriter, right? I expect something that makes clients want to stand up and applaud. Sophia blinked, confused. What do you mean by that? Alexander raised an eyebrow as if he'd revealed too much, but his cool demeanor returned quickly. Just an example. Revise it. I want the final draft on my desk by 5 p.m. And this time, make it groundbreaking. He emphasized groundbreaking with a tone both serious and slightly mocking. As she left the conference room, she muttered under her breath, "Groundbreaking? What does he want? Buy this product or the world will explode?" That afternoon, Alexander continued ambushing Sophia in ways she never saw coming. He dumped surprise tasks on her, revising presentation slides, drafting internal emails, fetching his precise coffee order from the cafe across the street. "No sugar, no milk, and make sure it's hot," he instructed, eyes gleaming like he was issuing a challenge. Sophia gritted her teeth but complied. She wasn't about to be labeled the unprofessional newbie. When she returned with the coffee, placing it on his desk with the most neutral expression she could manage, Alexander took a sip and raised an eyebrow. "Not bad, but next time, ask them to stir it gently. The flavors didn't blend quite right." He looked at her with that faint smirk again, like he knew exactly how close she was to snapping. "I'll make a note of that," Sophia replied with sugary sweetness. Inside, she was seething. "Stir gently? What am I? Your personal barista?" But what drove Sophia truly crazy were the moments when Alexander showed up just in time to rescue her. Like when she tripped over a power cord in the conference room, and he caught her before she hit the ground. His grip was firm, protective, entirely too familiar. "Careful, Miss Martinez. I'd hate to lose a new hire to a broken leg," he said, voice cool but eyes unexpectedly warm. Or when she got stuck in the elevator with a notoriously cranky coworker, and Alexander happened to walk by, manually opening the doors. "Miss Martinez, do you have a habit of getting trapped in small spaces?" he asked, voice dry and amused. Sophia had to resist the urge to shout. "No, I'm just trying to escape from you." The breaking point came at day's end when Sophia returned with her revised campaign proposal. She stood outside Alexander's office, took a deep breath, and knocked. "Come in." She stepped inside. He was seated behind his desk, afternoon light highlighting his chiseled features. She placed the updated proposal on his desk, striving to maintain professionalism. "I've made the changes you requested. I added a more dynamic angle and emphasized digital engagement. I hope it meets your expectations." Alexander flipped through the document with that same infuriating pace before finally looking up, his eyes locking with hers. "Better," he said. "But you know what, Miss Martinez? I think you can do even more. You've got fire in you." Sophia froze. "Sir, I really don't understand what you're talking about anymore." Alexander tilted his head, that half-smile returning like he was weighing whether to tell her the truth. "Final version due Friday. Don't let me down." He stood and left the room, leaving Sophia behind with a head full of questions. Back at her desk, Janet was waiting, eyes full of curiosity. "So did he like your proposal?" Sophia collapsed into her chair with a groan. "Like it? He just handed me another impossible deadline. I swear, Janet, it's like he's playing some twisted game with me." Janet giggled. "Oh, come on. I bet he likes you. No one calls out a new employee by name that many times unless they have a reason." Sophia's cheeks flushed. "No way. He's just an evil boss with too much time on his hands." But when she glanced toward Alexander's office and saw him walking by, chatting with another director, she couldn't deny the flutter in her chest. He was cold, sarcastic. But somehow every time he showed up just in time, she felt strangely safe. In his private office, Alexander sat down and opened the drawer where he kept the eyeliner-scrawled note from Saturday night. He smiled, remembering the fiery kiss, her laughter, the way she mumbled in her sleep. She didn't remember anything, but he remembered every second. Watching her stumble through meetings, flustered and confused, only made him more tempted to pull her deeper into the game. "Sophia Martinez," he murmured, tapping his fingers against the desk. "You'll realize soon enough. Running away isn't as easy as you think." But their carefully constructed professional dance was about to be shattered by a ghost from Sophia's past. And the storm that followed would test everything they thought they knew about love, trust, and second chances.